Week 10. Day 64, on seeing obstacles as hurdles. If we choose to see the obstacles in our path as barriers, we stop trying. If we choose to see the obstacles as hurdles, we can leap over them. Successful people don't have fewer problems. They have determined that nothing will stop them from going forward. Ben Carson. One might argue that it's mere semantics, barriers or hurdles, both make it difficult to reach success. However, thinking of a problem as a hurdle means approaching it as something that you can possibly walk around or leap over, but a barrier sounds like something that is impermeable and a fixed limitation. Nobody likes to face obstacles, but it's thanks to the obstacles you face today that you gain the ability to overcome other hardships in the future. One's hat would possibly crush you if it weren't for the experience you're having today. Problem-solving skills are exactly that, skills. The more often you encounter problems and resolve them, the better you'll get at dealing with them. For this reason, as a great exercise for building self-discipline and mental resilience, I strongly suggest exposing yourself to difficult tasks. Embrace problems in your life and look at dealing with difficulties as training yourself to see problems as hurdles instead of barriers. Exert willpower to deal with the hard problems, instead of looking for the easiest way out. Consider several ways to tackle the issue and try to visualize how each solution can help you leap over the hurdle. You don't necessarily have to throw problems at yourself from every direction. You can also practice by helping your friends solve their problems or by imagining you're facing the problems you're reading about in a book or seeing in a TV show. Just for practice, imagine that you are about to launch your business when a key investor backed out, leaving you $20,000 short of the budget necessary to produce the first line of your product. To make matters worse, you've already accepted payments from your first clients and need to deliver within 2 months. Most people would consider it an impermeable barrier. Game over, say good to your dreams. You, as a mentally resilient and self-disciplined person, will look at it as a hurdle. What can you do to leap over it and keep going, despite such a difficulty being thrown in your way? Day 65, on self-discipline with money. Try to save something while your salary is small. It's impossible to save after you begin to earn more. Jack Benny. Whenever the topic of winning the lottery comes up in a conversation, I always say that what so many people consider the biggest blessing in their entire lives is actually the biggest curse for most people. Let me explain why, but first, some curious facts. The numbers are terrifying. According to 2015 research from the Pew Charitable Trusts, 41% of respondents don't have enough liquid savings to cover an unexpected $2,000 cost, such as a medical emergency, and a typical household can't replace even 1 month of income with liquid savings. It's important to note we aren't talking about people living in poverty. The same respondents are the ones buying new homes, cars, TVs, smartphones, and other gadgets. The reason for their lack of savings isn't lack of income, it's lack of self-discipline. While a small percentage of respondents probably do exercise some kind of financial self-control, a great majority doesn't. What do you think? How likely would they be to exercise self-discipline with money upon winning the lottery if they can't manage their finances now? Even if they won millions of dollars, later on they would be in the same spot as they are today, if not in an even worse situation. That's why winning the lottery, the dream of so many, can actually be the biggest curse. For this reason, no matter how well off you are today, it's of crucial importance to start saving your money now if you aren't doing so already. It doesn't matter if you're saving $10 or $10,000 a month, it's the habit that counts. When your financial situation improves, and as a person interested in building self-discipline, it most likely will, it will ensure that you continue exerting self-control with money. If you're lacking such a habit today, don't fool yourself into thinking you'll control your finances when you start making more. Build healthy financial habits when you have little disposable income, And saving money will be easier when you'll have more money to save. And if you do win the lottery, you'll thank me for encouraging you to instill financial discipline today. Day 66, on pointless complaints. But my nose is running. What do you have hands for, idiot, if not to wipe it? But how is it right that there be running noses in the first place? Instead of thinking up protests, wouldn't it be easier just to wipe your nose? Epictetus. Grumbling about everything is a favorite pastime of countless individuals, all over the world. It's incredible how much time and energy people waste on something as pointless as complaining, particularly when they can do nothing about their source of protests. It takes self-discipline to stop complaining, and a great deal of it if you're like most people, who can't go even one day without voicing their dissatisfaction with the world. Consequently, managing your complaints is a great exercise to improve your self-control. Starting today, try to go without complaining for as long as you can. Whenever you catch yourself complaining, turn it into a solution. Try to find something good about whatever dissatisfies you, or let it go if the solution is beyond your control or the problem isn't worth your energy. For example, if you're at a restaurant and your meal isn't as warm as you'd like it to be, you can ask the waiter to heat it, turning a complaint into a solution. Consider it an exercise in voluntary discomfort, finding something good about the source of the complaint, or simply eat it, having decided that complaining about it isn't worth your energy. Such mental training will not only improve your impulse self-control, but also make you a more positive person. In contrast, what do you get out of complaining besides ruining your mood? Day 67, on borrowing money. Every time you borrow money, you're robbing your future self. Nathan W. Morris. Borrowing money for consumption is a widespread disease in today's world, fueled by excess and materialism. Unlike taking on a business loan to achieve a return on investment that is higher than the interest rate, a practice that, when done wisely, can enrich your future self, consumer loans only serve to satisfy the desire for instant gratification, while robbing, sometimes spectacularly, your future self. Each time you're thinking about getting a loan to satisfy a desire to own an item that belongs in the want category, imagine that you have the power to stop your past self from getting all the consumer loans you have today. If you don't have any, pretend that you do. Just like that, you can erase all of them and finally gain peace of mind. Would you still go into debt to finance your toys? 5 years from now, you'll look back at your past self, puzzled at how short-sighted you were to gift yourself with such a bad future for the fleeting gratification of getting a new car or TV. But I can get such great terms, it's almost a free loan. You're saying? The terms don't matter. The habit of prioritizing your present self over your future self eventually affects not only your finances, but every other area of your life. Developing discipline to do without unnecessary feel-good purchases you can afford is one of the most important things you can do to gain more self-control and ensure that your future is better than the present. Day 68, on choosing the right motivator. For me, success was always going to be a Lamborghini. But now I've got it, it just sits on my drive. Minus 50 cent. External rewards like a Lamborghini are poor motivators. For one, I've heard countless times about people willing to endure immense torture to stay true to their values or save their loved ones, but I've yet to hear a story of a person willing to die for their new Lexus. Second, materialistic rewards give fleeting happiness and often come with more problems than benefits. Just ask any owner of a Lamborghini how much fun it is to see people constantly taking pictures of their car, how fun it is to spend thousands of dollars for a simple checkup, or how stressed out they are in the parking lot, afraid of an envious driver of a beat-up car dinging their shiny vehicle. Last but most definitely not least, a powerful motivator should feel like a necessity, a thing you can't live without, and not a mere toy that displays your high status, which ultimately nobody cares about. If you're struggling to stick to your resolution, perhaps the only motivation you have is the extrinsic type, driven by money, fame, or prizes. This type of motivation isn't bad per se. What's bad is when it's the only thing that keeps you going. Whenever you're setting new goals, go beyond mere external rewards. Instead, support your self-discipline with intrinsic motivators, internal rewards, such as doing something out of a need to grow as a person, achieve more independence, realize your full potential, enjoy yourself, learn, or explore. Combine this motivation with the need to make the world a better place, and you'll have a powerful source of inspiration that will enable you to grin and bear the difficulties that you'll undoubtedly encounter along the way. Day 69, on climbing steep hills. To climb steep hills requires slow pace at first. William Shakespeare. If you think of your goal as a steep hill, imagine how ridiculous it would be to stop midway just because you're slowly scrambling up instead of sprinting all the way to the top. That's precisely what many people do when they start working on a new goal and realize that the journey will take longer than they expected. What difference does it make that reaching a goal takes you longer than you planned? If you want to climb a steep hill, will you stop climbing it because you can't climb it in 2 hours, but can in 3? Will you retreat to the bottom of the hill and forever stare at its peak, frustrated by the dissatisfying pace of the climb? Another mistake is the assumption that if something is slow in the beginning, it will stay that way. When I started my career as a self-published author, I tried several different genres. Things were going slow at the beginning because I needed to figure out which genre and style fitted me best. Once I established the proper direction, I released my first bestseller, then the second, and soon there was a snowball effect. How wise would it have been to give up during the first several months, frustrated by the slow pace? Day 70, on Parkinson's Law. It is a commonplace observation that work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. Cyril Northcote Parkinson. Limiting the time available to complete a given task is one of the most powerful secrets of productive people and a powerful way to overcome procrastination. If you lack the self-control needed to work in a focused way, give yourself a challenging deadline to enforce concentration. Suddenly, what normally takes 2 hours to accomplish, or rather, 2 hours of intermittent work and distractions, will only take 30 minutes, or less, of 100% focused work at your highest potential. At the moment I'm writing these words, I have a goal to write 4 entries in 50 minutes. Because of my self-imposed time pressure, I'm 100% focused on the task at hand. I can't distract or second-guess myself, two things that interrupt the creative process and slow down my writing pace. Since I've given myself little time to get the task done, procrastination is a non-issue. I can't afford to dilly-dally because I'll miss my deadline. To further motivate myself to work quickly, I established a reward for performing the task on time: reading the new autobiography of Richard Branson, one of my business idols. This simple trick can become one of your most powerful allies toward increasing your productivity. If you've been putting off a certain unpleasant task, get to it now, but instead of giving yourself plenty of time to finish it, do it in 25% of your usual time frame. The new, greatly shortened period of work should reduce your resistance to getting started, and the challenge of doing it more quickly should bring out some excitement that will additionally fuel your resolve to get it done.